had no resources, no particular skills, no connections in mortal society. The mortal realm could be dangerous, especially given my new vulnerability. I needed a plan to face it. The irony of my situation did not escape me. It was the nature of all mortal adolescents to experience such anxiety at the prospect of leaving their childhood home for the harsh adult world. Knowing this did not make me feel better. I had come to no conclusion by the afternoon, but since I guessed that Shahar might have gotten over her fury with me by this point, I went in search of her. When I walked into Shahar's quarters, I found her surrounded by 3 servants who seemed to be in the middle of dressing her. As I appeared in the parlor doorway, she turned around so fast that her half-done hair whipped loose. I saw a flash of dismay cross one servant's face before the woman masked it.
"Where in the infinite hells have you been?"
Shahar demanded as I leaned against the door jamb.
"The servant said you left the cupola hours ago."
"Good to see you, too," I drawled. "What are you getting all polished up for?" She sighed, submitting once again to the servant's attentions.
"Dinner. I'm meeting with Lady Hino of the Timid Protectorate's ruling triadicy and her Pymex."
She pronounced the word perfectly, which was fitting, as she'd probably been taught to speak Timin since childhood. The word meant something like heir, though with a masculine suffix. Prince, then, in Amun parlance, though unless the Timins had rewritten their charter again in the century since I'd last paid attention to them, it was not a hereditary role. They chose their leaders from among their brighter young folk, then trained them for a decade or so before actually letting them be in charge of anything. That sort of sensible thinking was why I'd chosen the Timins as my model, back when I'd first crafted a mortal appearance for myself. Then I noticed the gown they were wrapping around Shahar. Quite literally. The gown seemed to consist of bands of subdued gold cloth, palm-wide, being woven over and under other bands until a herringbone pattern had been achieved. The overall effect was very elegant and cleverly emphasized Shahar's still developing curves. I whistled, and she threw a wary look at me. "If I didn't know any better," I said, "I would think you were courting this prince. But you're too young, and since when have Arameri married foreigners? So this must be something else." She shrugged, turning to gaze at herself in the bedroom mirror. The dress was almost done. They needed to wrap only the bottom few layers around her legs. But how was she going to get out of the thing? Perhaps they would cut it off her.
"The Triadic likes beauty," she said. "And she controls the tariffs on shipping from High North, so it's worthwhile to impress her. She's one of the few nobles who can actually make things difficult for us."
She turned to the side, inspecting her profile. Now that the servant had repaired her hair, she looked perfect and knew it.
"And Prince Canru is an old childhood friend, so I don't mind looking nice for him."
I raised my eyebrows in surprise. Arameri didn't usually let their children have friends, though I supposed friends were necessary, now that they had no gods. I went over to the parlor's couch and flopped onto it, not caring about the servants' glances. "So your dinner will be business and pleasure, then?"
"Mostly business."
The servants murmured something, and there was a pause as Shahar examined herself. Satisfied, she nodded, and the servants filed out. Once they were gone, Shahar slid on a pair of long, pale yellow gloves.
"I mean to ask her about what happened to my cousins, in fact."
I rolled onto my side to watch her. "Why would she know?"
"Because the Timins are a part of a neutral group in the Nobles Consortium. They support us, but they also support progressive efforts like a revised tithe system and secular schools. The Order of Tempest can no longer afford to educate children beyond the age of 9, you see."
Yes, I said, rubbing my eyes. "I don't care about the details, Shahar. Just tell me the important part." She sighed in exasperation, coming over to the couch to gaze haughtily at me.
"I believe Hino has alliances with those high northern nobles who consistently vote against the interests of the Arameri and the consortium," she said. "And they I believe, are the source of the attacks on my family.